What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the Thursday night wrap up. Sorry about my voice. I may have the Curtis Rona. There's a good little throwback for you Dogs fans. But what a game again! It actually was a good game this time. I expected the Panthers to dominate by like 40 or 50 points, and Broncos actually put up a fight and played pretty well. I think their structures were a lot better this week. They had just went through the middle, tried to get the quick play of the ball, and then really just Croft did most of the kicking and kicked to the corners. So what do you know? The strategy that's worked for the entirety of the NRL worked for the Broncos, and it took a bit of brilliance from guys like Brian To'o and Cleary and Luai to sort of break this game open and help them win. But Cleary, wow, 97.8 average over the first 5 games. It's incredible. Well, his first 5 games anyway. Uh, yeah, it's a bit of a tough one. Like my alternates team doesn't have him, and it's just like that. The 124 kind of does it. I think you can handle, the 80 odds, the 90. If you're using the money elsewhere, but if you're not, then the 124 just really knocks you out, I think. And yeah, anyone that's in the top sort of 500 pretty much has to have Cleary at this stage. So can we please stop with the yelling at about how the hell does he get his points? He's got 70 points in tackles and kick meters, for Christ's sake. And then, kicks the goals. He didn't even get the 40-20 that he kicked, like, just because Coates touched it. So, if you could probably blow up a little bit of that if you wanted to, like if he got given those points, but he didn't. So you just look at his stats and he's just everywhere. So a must have. What I will say is he will probably miss, I'd say, at least 3 games over the Origin period. They do play the round 18 game, I believe, is 2 days after. So keep that in mind. I brought in Brian To'o into the alternates team, and obviously a pretty decent decision. He didn't even score a try, and he got 76. He's just incredible. I was talking to my brother last night, and I was like, "Do I go To'o or Moses?" And he's like, "Who's better to watch?" And I said, "Obviously To'o." So that first 20 minutes there, he picked up like I think 8 or 9 tackle breaks in that first 20, 30 minutes. So I was like, "Yep, thank you, good decision." God, he's amazing. The more games that play through through this season, I think that there's actually a chance he makes the Origin team. So annoying, but amazing work from him. And those of you who traded out Capewell ends up with 80 minutes this week, and Liam Martin was the one that got less minutes, and obviously Spencer Leniu as well. So a little bit annoying there for those owners of those guys, but like myself with Leniu. But Capewell, if you held on one more week, then you got rewarded. And we keep saying this with Capewell. You have the 30 odd game, and then you'll have the 70 in that closer game. And this was definitely a close game until the end there, and picked up a try as well. So well done for him. And an average of 47.5 is not terrible, right? That puts him a little bit undervalued from where he's at now, but it's just can you cop the 30 next week, for the 70 the week after? So that's that. Similar with Pangai, I ended up getting 80 minutes on the edge there, and a little bit annoying. I know a bunch of people would have traded him out, and that's fair enough. But 65 with a try and a try saver there with 3 turnover tackles, so probably something I wouldn't expect every week. You could probably expect somewhere in a high 40s to 50 range for Pangai on an edge if he's going to be playing that 80 minutes. And you can see Ricky only came on for 20 minutes there. So, if you got Pangai, I think you definitely can hold on and you're happy with the score this week, but I wouldn't be looking to bring him in at this stage. Mr. Croft comes in with 65 points and 590 kick meters. So, obviously all that traffic came to him with the kicking on 5th tackle, and I think he actually played a pretty good game. Got 2 try assists, 23 tackles for 3 misses, and ran the ball a little bit. So, well done if you have Croft. He's actually scored pretty well apart from his interchange game, but I wouldn't be going to select anyone in this Broncos team at the moment. Isaiah Yeo, 58 in his 70 minutes, happy with that, but again, not a top level keeper. Fisher Harris, similar thing, 51 average, not a top level keeper, but happy with those scores if you got him. Payne Haas, some good minutes again, 63. But, when he's got a 910k price tag, he needs to average around that 70 mark for him to be viable. And is he going to be able to have a PPM of 1 or just above in 63 minutes? And that's going to be the worry. So I think you can really wait 2-3 more weeks. And then the question is, okay, now it's round 9. Do I pick him up now? And I think you probably don't. Like he's gonna have the odd game like last week where he gets a 70 odd, but this 62 average, I'm probably expecting him to average about 65. And if that's the case, he's got another 60k or so to drop before you can pick him up, and then it gets closer to Origin. So he might just be a complete holdout until like round 18 or 19. So and then you can use him for your gun side for the last 6 rounds. That's my thoughts with him. Turpin, he had 59 overnight, dropped back to 55 unfortunately, but he lost his offload and some run meters, but oh well. Really happy with him. And I had a few people ask me, is he the keeper? And for him, I want him to be averaging somewhere in the high 50s as your hooker, just because I think we're going to at least have 2 gun hookers in our side, maybe 3. And him as your third option, he's probably like 18th man at this stage, but you're really happy with his scores. Like he's obviously got another 100k to make, and he'll go up again this week with that 55. So really good work for him. Lodge, of course, when we want him to score well at the start of the year, he doesn't, and then the last 2 games he's done really well. And I think he's really warmed up into this season now. A few games in a row, and he actually had a bit of potency in his attack. He had 7 tackle breaks, 3 offloads, so he was enormous for them in his 38 minutes to get 52. So again, not someone I'd be targeting to bring in, but if you held on this long, then you're getting some benefit out of him. And someone like Osako has actually done pretty well this year. An average of 44. If you picked him up at the start of the year at 400k, and you've just been holding on to him during this time, then I think you've done pretty well with that bring in at the start of the season. 225 meters, 4 tackle breaks, a couple of goals in there. Not much more you can ask from a guy at that price. He's averaging very similar to what Dane Laurie's doing. So well done with that. Jerome Luai got updated a little bit, and that good try assist at the end really helped him out. Otherwise, he was looking at a very low score there. So again, someone who's going to be up and down, that mid-40s into like a 70 on a week-to-week basis. Not someone I'd be targeting to bring in, especially if there's a chance he plays Origin. But we'll go from there with Mitch Kenny at 48. So again, just doing really well. 62 tackles, and he got 48 points. So pretty crazy. 8 missed tackles in there. But with that, he's going to be up around 80, 90k made so far, and scored fairly well for your side. So you can probably say well done as a bring in, but happy Coruscant will be back in the next few weeks. Please hit subscribe, guys, if you're new. I'll hopefully have a better voice soon. How good was the Bullymore try? That was great. But again, not an option. He's lost 12k over the year, so that means something, right? Alex Glenn came off for Ricky. So, if you had Glenn, then I'd be worried about that on a week-to-week basis. Momorowski scored well again. Didn't have to do too much. Little line break in open space. A couple of tackle breaks, 3 offloads, tackles well, runs over 100 meters. You're gonna sit around that 35-40 as a base, and then any attacking stats from there. And the issue I just read was that it looks like he's facing a 2 to 3 week ban for that terrible high shot on Dearden when he kicked. Maybe that's why Dearden didn't want to kick anymore, because he copped that. But annoying for owners. We've got him in the people squad, which should suck going into next week. But this is why we have cover, right? You hold these guys for a couple of weeks if they're out for that long. But he could go into the judiciary and fight that one possibly as well. Stephen Crichton, another okay score, 39. Again, keep holding him until until you have enough cover to remove him. He should get a dual position as of next week, so he could be a good one to have as cover between the 2, centre and wing fullback. Burton with 39, it's a little bit of a lower score if you have him in your side, but still had a decent game. It was a bit harder for him this week with dealing with the likes of TPJ, but solid score from him. Corey Oates, really good game for Corey Oates. I wouldn't be selecting him my side, but actually had a good footy game on his return, which was good. Carrigan, I think, is definitely a sell now. This 50 minutes just isn't going to be enough for him to average 55, 60, especially with all their forwards back. If they lose a few through injury, he could be a really cool option in the next bunch of weeks, but he's a chance of playing Origin too. Richie Kenner came in and got 35. He actually didn't play terribly, so well done to Walters for picking him over Tessie in the end. Dearden's role just changed completely. Like didn't do as much kicking, just got a lot of his points through tackles and turnover tackles there with a little bit of running. So not going to be an option, I don't think, going forward. Liam Martin with the lower minutes, Torren May, Leota, who else got Eisenhuth, Kickow. Kickow's that one, guys, that a lot of people try to pick him up, and this is what he does. He gets the big scores of 70, 80 against those lesser teams, and then just doesn't get the minutes, obviously, like 55, 60 minutes against every week, but just doesn't get the attacking stats against these types of teams, and they can't use him as that target against a lot of the better teams because they game plan for kick out and defend him accordingly. So a lot of the time it'll go out the back, whereas against the lesser teams and the smaller defenders, he'll go through them or be able to go through and get an offload away and stuff like that. So they use him a fair bit differently against these types of teams. So, well, obviously Broncos not a great team in general, but these types of games where it's closer, so I think for him, definitely not a keeper. You've got to get rid of him at some point, but maybe it's a hold until they play the first bye round, so he could be an interesting one to hold there. Jordan Ricky with 20 minutes actually scored really well. Got a turnover tackle, 2 tackle breaks, no demerits in there. So, good enough if you held him for the points wise, but the minutes wise, if he stays on the bench there, he's got to go. Otherwise, you'll start losing your cash very quickly. All that 150 that we made will go out the window. So, keep an eye on him. And Spencer, 20 minutes, bro. What are you doing? He's so good. Can you at least give him 30, 35? Wow. If he does that, he makes a bit more cash, but I'm really annoyed now that I picked him up after the first round. That was a trade I didn't need to make, but I suppose we didn't expect that he'd be getting the same minutes that he was last year. He's improved as a player, but I suppose in hindsight, you look at that bench, then they've got all middle guys. Tyrone May's playing in the middle too, along with Eisenhuth and Martin there. So looking back on it, it's probably probably didn't need to bring him in. And same with Staines. At that price, he had to be averaging crazy numbers. And when you've only played a few games and things go your way in that game, then that's why people were thinking he was going to average so much. But if he was at 250 or 300k, you can do it. But he's just he's played okay, in actual footy, but in terms of fantasy, he's never had he's averaging almost 200 meters less running meters than Brian Toll. So something to think about with Staines. He has to go. You can't keep him in your squad anymore. But there you guys. That's the Thursday night wrap. Hopefully the voice is a lot better for tomorrow. Hope you could still hear me okay and you're really enjoying these videos. I appreciate all the support. We're growing really well. I think we had over 200 comments on one of the last videos. So keep them coming, guys. But before you do that, obviously it's getting harder for me to comment on it. I'm missing a few of these comments here and there. So please go back and watch all the videos if you can. That should give you all the information as I go into detail with all those guys. But as I said, if you enjoy this, please hit like, hit subscribe if you're new, and we'll see you in the next one, team. Have a good day.